everybody, and welcome back to yet another fantastic episode of Pongers. My name is Ryan.
And my name is Anthony.
Anthony, good to talk to you, my friend. How you been? What's
good
new?
To see you too.
So, appreciate that.
I've been pretty well.
That's good.
So over the past week, there's been one big thing that I've been doing. I got my hands on this brand spanking new game called Shin Megami Tensei 5, which is a mouthful of a game. But it came out last Friday. I'm a big fan of the series. And I've been playing it not quite nonstop since I got it a bit early on Thursday, but pretty close to nonstop since then. Do you know anything about Shin Megami Tensei or its more popular younger brother Persona?
Persona I know, but I did not. When you said that game in the first place, I went right over my head.
Yeah, so have you played Persona or just know about it or anything like that?
All I know is Joker because of Smash.
Okay. Then I am able to talk about SMT5 without referencing Persona at all, which will be a fun thing to do. So SMT is a series that's been going on, I think, since the early 90s. Pretty popular, relatively popular JRPG series that's got a lot of religious themes, a pretty high level of difficulty, and depending on what strain of it you get, since Persona is technically under the SMT umbrella, different flavors of storytelling and stylistic stuff. So, in your Persona stuff, you got like your, more poppy, more high school, more, melodrama focused storytelling.
Sure.
Where Shin Megami Tensei, as a series, is a series of post-apocalyptic RPGs, where in the post-apocalypse you're hanging out and trying to recruit demons to engage in some sort of larger scale religious conflict. So in 5 that just came out, within like the first 5 hours within the intro to the game, you get a cutscene where, angels are fighting against demons and this giant portal opens up and literally Lucifer, like the dark evil person, Lucifer just descends down and says, "Hey, God is dead. I may or may not have killed him. This is a new world of chaos now." And like everything has gone since then. So you like kind of wake up in this post-apocalyptic world, convert, talking to different demons all the way down from like minor fate, just like a fairy or a pixie or a slime. And then as the game progresses, you work your way up through more and more recognizable different like demons and fairy tale creatures, to the point that, at the end of the game, you might be working with the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse or major deities from all sorts of different religions in your quest that usually has some type of commentary on the nature of law, chaos, and neutrality.
I actually just saw your tweet about it. About what, adding it to Smash or something like that? What was that tweet? Because as you started talking about it, it popped up on my feed.
I don't think I tweeted. Let me double check what I put out there recently.
Yeah, you said was the first.
Oh no! So that was a commentary on. So going from Super Smash Bros. And this is going to be a hard tangent for those in the audience. So this isn't going to be super connected. But Solid Snake was in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and he had, for lack of a better word, a pretty finely shaped butt. Very well defined and everything.
The way you described it as fat with a PH.
Yeah, fat with a PH. But then when he came back in the most recent one, he was significantly less defined. And I was making a joke that like the big character in Metal Gear, where Snake comes from, is named Colonel Campbell. And the same person that voice acts him is the same person that voice acts Lucifer in the Shin Megami Tensei series. Oh. So I was making a joke. It's like, oh, he sold his butt to Lucifer in order to get back into Smash Bros.
Yeah. I mean,
so not entirely related, but just a fun kind of joke to like the 3 people who get it.
I get it now that you explained it to me.
Yeah.
Haha. Funny.
But yeah,
sorry.
It's just been like it. The SMT series is always like very cool and very unique because no one else does anything like SMT. Even though the battle system, in terms of its overall trappings, is kind of similar to Persona, like SMT has such like a, large scale freedom and also like kind of punishing difficulty. It's like one of the few games that actually requires players to actually learn its systems. Because Ryan, you did say in a previous week that you actually had Mark sit you down and make you play a Pokemon game, right?
Mark and Jacob, yeah. I've played played Fire Red, I played Heart Gold, and I played Platinum. And I played Pokemon Mystery Dungeon for the Switch.
Okay, that's a decent amount of games.
Yeah, pretty fun.
But especially more recently, Pokemon, you've been able to coast through the game with the most basic like type effectiveness knowledge without having to put any effort into actually composing your team.
See, that just seems boring to me.
And doing that. I mean, like what about that seems boring?
Well, it's like it's nice to think that like, hey, I can. And this, I'm glad we could talk about this because the first year you were talking about, I had no idea what we were talking about, but I could say a lot about this.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
It's one thing for a game to be like not easy per se, but for it to be pretty straightforward, and for all you have to do to be able to win is to know a little bit. But it's more fun to me, like those puzzle games where it requires a bit more strategy or a little bit more thinking. Like type effectiveness in and of itself is not very simple, and knowing all of the intricacies of that is in and of itself kind of difficult. And if you just have to know, well, I don't know, water is strong against fire, if that's all I gotta know, then I feel like it's not gonna be as fun for me personally.
Yeah.
I had a friend who would have a lot of different Pokemon that would just be, like glitchy almost. Like, you ever heard of the Fear Rattata?
Yes, I have. Yep.
He had a Fear Rattata, and dude, that thing was baller.
For those that don't know, it's like a Fear Rattata is basically using a really weak Pokemon in kind of a joke strat to trick people who aren't paying attention into what you're doing to get easy kills.
That's what a Fear Rattata is? You want to hear what this Rattata had? It was actually a Rattata.
What did it have?
I don't remember what the item is called.
Of the wrong thing.
I don't know what the item is called. I assumed that, because of my ignorance of Pokemon, that this was just a build that someone else came up with that everyone knows about, called the Fear Rattata, because that's what Joe called it, friend Joe. And it was a Rattata, level...
Fear stands for something. I'll tell you what it stands for as soon as you're done. Yeah. As soon as you're done talking.
So it was a Rattata. I forgot what the item it held was, but the item it held...
Focus Slash. That's the F in Fear, is Focus Slash.
Okay, Focus. Yeah, is that the item where you would get hit and it at least keeps you at 1 health?
It keeps you at 1 health.
Yep. So that's exactly what it was, and it would just like hit you and hit you and hit you, and it would outlast all your Pokemon.
Well, yeah. See, what Fear stands for is Focus Sash, which would keep you at 1 HP. Endeavor, which is a move that makes your opponent at the same HP you are. What does the A stand for? Quick Attack is a move that, if no matter what, you go first.
Right, and it'll hit the last HP you have left.
And the last HP and knock out. So, level 2 Pokemon, like just fresh Pokemon, will take out like a max level Pokemon easy. Ridiculous type stuff. Mm-hmm. But, like that's a cool strategy, but by and large, you don't really have to do that in Pokemon games. No. You can just kind of coast through, not think about anything. But in SMT, you really have to actually learn the systems and actually understand what's going on and craft like, okay, I'm going to have my party member that does buffs, because if I don't make if I don't lower my opponent's accuracy, I'm straight out of luck. I'm just going to get bodied and incinerated and nailed. No question whatsoever.
And I feel like that would be... Oh, good, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like that's more fun for me, because if I'm like devoting my time to a game, I want to invest myself in it and I want to get good at it. And it's not... coasting to Pokemon is not something you can necessarily get good at. If we're talking and we're hanging out and I'm playing like something simple like Minecraft or a coast Pokemon game, that's fun and all. And or like Animal Crossing or stuff like that. But if I'm like devoting my time to a game, which I love doing with Pokemon, I actually haven't played Pokemon in a couple years now, but if that's what I'm doing with Pokemon, let me reference this. I want to be the very best, like no one was before. Like I want to make a unique team that will be fun. And I guess you could still do that in one of those coasting games, but I feel if the point of it isn't that, it's not as interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, because like your opponents that you have in Pokemon just are not smart enough to do anything against you in any meaningful way.
Sure.
You know, they're like AI more or less in Pokemon games just picks a random move and just goes off of that. And random moves are not worthwhile challenges. So, you know, like SMT will really, really put you through your paces. There's a pretty famous encounter in the third SMT game against a demon called Matador, which is literally just like a Matador that's, you know, like a skeleton, you know, like that would like challenge like a bull rider or anything like that. And he's pretty famous where it's like, if you do not know how to buff your team and remove buffs from your opponent's team, he will wipe the floor with you near instantly. You know, you have to actually pay attention to what you have and the tools that you're given in order to properly succeed in SMT. And that's why, you know, with how many games I've played, I know I can read a game really quickly and get the hang of it. And even at that point, SMT still puts me through my paces a decent amount and makes me just go through that. And it also has, like, a creature collecting element like Pokemon. You know, you have your Demon Compendium, where, you know, you just want to fill in all of the spaces. Because you're like, oh, I know, like, the 3 Fury sisters from Greek mythology. I want to get them all and read the lore that they've put into the game about them. You know, like, seeing that is cool and fun and interesting. Or, oh, they're the 9 Orders of Angels, like, of power, dominion, principality, and all of this. You know, I want to find those. I want to get them all on my team and see what I can do with that. It's just a very uniquely engaging and interesting video game series that I could probably take up a whole podcast episode, and I'm even theoretically planning on doing that, taking up a whole episode just theoretically talking about SMT in the future. You know, but just it is just unlike anything else out on the market right now.
If you did do an episode about that, I feel like that would be a good another one of those, like last week's episode about anime, another one of those I just know nothing about. So
yeah,
and maybe it'll be a great way for me to learn how to do things, but also have the audience see that I really don't know anything about it, and maybe be inspired to try it because I'm trying it.
Yeah,
see, that's
I mean, and it's like there's even still stuff that I don't know. Like some of the ones haven't been localized into English, and like at Shin Megami Tensei 2, like the story setup for that is like the Catholic Church runs the world and has set up the Millennium Kingdom from the Book of Revelation, despite the fact that Jesus hasn't had a second coming at that point. And, you know, just that immediate concept is like, this is unlike anything else I have ever played. It's like we're dealing with, like, Millennium Kingdom stuff. Like, no one else does anything like that. And it's just such a unique thing to just keep coming back to whenever I'm in the mood for that.
And that's one of those things I think I mentioned last week, that that's just the best way. That's the reason people fall in love with video games or with certain anime or with other shows, because it's just something that other people don't do and other people can't do, and that's why.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's exactly what I said. Like, I'm excited because there's so much anime out there, and because I've never really watched any, I'm bound to find something that I fall in love with for that reason. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Heck yeah.
All right, so that's enough about me. What did you do this past week?
Well, I mean, honestly, I didn't do a whole lot. Kind of just working and watching Avatar: The Last Airbender to fall asleep to. You know what they say.
Which book are you in at this point?
I'm actually in book 2 right now. They just realized that, for those of you who have not seen it, I'll try not to spoil it. I'll just kind of speak in code. Basically, they're in Ba Sing Se, and they realize that a certain group of 3 people are there that they didn't realize were there before.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm at that point, and I think that's, for those of you who are looking for ways to fall asleep, that's just something I thought of just now, because this is how I like to fall asleep. TV movies put me to sleep like instantly. The only way that's not true is if it's something I've never seen before that I'm really invested in, because I'm trying to stay awake to watch it. But if you're trying to fall asleep, just put on something that you've seen a lot, something that's familiar to you, because here's what it's going to do to you. It's that familiarity that I don't have to pay attention to enjoy this and to know what's going on. It's just going to be so calming and therapeutic for your brain that, and I don't know if I'm using all the proper terminology, but it's just so soothing. And I honestly don't know if this is all of you, but I would recommend trying that, because for me, that's what helps me fall asleep. But yeah. Really, that's
I think like the familiarity like definitely helps. Like when I try to fall asleep, I usually put on music, and it's usually music that I'm familiar with. and I can just like just fall into a trance, just listening to something that I know already.
See, that's interesting because I feel like for I mean, yeah, definitely, it's that familiarity you mentioned that I mentioned that we all mentioned, definitely is almost like what's the word? It like brings you home almost. But that's interesting because it's hard for me to think of someone who watches TV and doesn't fall asleep to it because it's so instant for me. And it's interesting to hear you say that about music because when I'm listening to like pop or really any music that I know the words to, it energizes me all the time, like because I just want to sing along to it. So it's a very opposite kind of thing for music.
Well, how much like so what I normally fall asleep to is like just calming piano music or something like that. Maybe
classical
more something
music,
like slower vocal music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's different. Yeah, if it's like classical music, definitely. If I'm listening to it to learn it, like on trombone or whatever, maybe a different story. But absolutely, if it's just like putting something on in the background, I can see actually how that would help me as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been watching Avatar. And I'll be honest, a lot of what I've been doing this week has been re-listening to last episode. And you want to know why I'm so glad I did?
Why is that?
Because I have a bone to pick with you.
With me?
With you.
What did I do?
It took me a few listens to like actually hear it because I'll be listening to it as I'm editing, listening to it almost in the background, and then I'll listen to it again to make sure that I got it right, and then I'll listen to it after it's been edited and put out. And after a few times listening to it and put it out, you said something about I think I had mentioned that Friends basically was like an anime as a joke, and then you said something about how Friends just isn't a good sitcom, and I'm just like, wait a minute, did he just say that? And it took I didn't catch it. And my friend, you are so wrong. Yeah. Friends is a great sitcom. I'm
not wrong.
Well,
it's technically serviceable, but at some point, like all the episodes blend together and lose any sense of identity.
Some shows are just like that, and that's why they're fun.
Sure. But, like, my personal taste in sitcoms more goes along something like Community. Where, I could think of, like, through Season 2 and Season 3 of Community and be like, oh, yeah, there was that episode that they, like, went really wacky into conspiracy theories and had this complete blowout wild ending where just everything just got cranked up to the dial level of 11 of ridiculous. Or the one where they parodied Wild West things while they played paintball. Or the ones where they kind of parodied Glee a decent amount by,
singing, making
Glee kind of like a not Sounds of the Lambs, Invasion of the Body Snatchers type plot. Like the ridiculousness there just like completely sticks in my head. Or the Civil War episode. They just got so many like wacky wild concepts that is just so fresh and inventive. But like I've watched a decent amount of Friends, and there's like maybe 10 episodes I could recall on command. I think from my experience going through.
It is very much it's not as quirky. I will say that. It's a very like streamlined kind of thing, but you get to know the characters so well and you fall in love with them, and that's what makes that show so great. I won't disagree with you.
I just don't know if I like the characters in there.
And you know what? I think that's where we're going to have to disagree, but that's okay. We each have our own preferences.
That's fine.
And if it weren't for that, we wouldn't have this podcast. We wouldn't have different things to talk about. That being said, I was going to give you a brownie points for comparing it to Community because I actually haven't finished it, and it's been a while since I left off in it. I think I was in season 5 or 6. But you want to know who actually got me into Community?
Who was it?
Was my dad. And I will give you all the brownie points if you can guess why. Any idea why my dad would have told me to watch it?
Nothing's coming to mind right now, no.
So my dad is an actuarial recruiter. And fun fact about one of the Community actors, before he got into acting and moved out to LA, he was also in actuarial recruiting. My dad was very good friends with Danny Pudi for a number of years.
Huh.
Isn't that wild? You know who Danny Pudi is? He plays Abed.
Yeah, he's the guy that plays Abed, yeah.
Yes. So yeah, when you pointed that out, another thing I heard last time I was listening to the last week's episode, I was like, oh, I got to bring that up. But yeah. Let's see, what else?
Very cool. Very nice connection there.
I just thought that would be an interesting thing for any of you guys who are listening to this. If you've seen Community, if you haven't seen Community or Friends, go watch them. But yeah, a little Easter egg in there. My dad knows Danny Pudi.
That's just a nice little connection there. What a nice world.
Also, if you haven't listened to the last episode, please go listen to it. There's a little treat at the end for you. I messed up so much last week, and we decided, you know what, it would be fun if we included that. So go listen go listen all the way through. At the very end, after the music, you'll hear me being bad at English.
Blooper or two.
Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Do we want to go ahead and dive into this week's topic?
Absolutely. What do we got?
So, this is my week to talk about some stuff, and I feel like a lot of my weeks have been about different types of games. I talked about... Actually, this is only my second one, I guess, isn't it? Because this is episode 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, last week...
this is only the second one.
Yeah, so last week I talked about drinking games. Last 2 weeks ago, excuse me. My last time being the resident expert. This week is another blank games. This week we're going to talk about trivia and quiz games.
Excellent.
I feel like that's something that I've always loved. I like to think of myself as a pretty smart person, especially when it comes to like pointless things, which is what makes me so good at trivia.
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot about the stupidest things ever. And I figure that's what makes me a perfect expert for this topic.
So I gotta ask before we get in too deep, will you be bringing up Sporkle at all? For those that don't know, Sporkle is like a community sourced like quiz website based on like any topic that you could theoretically imagine is somewhere in Sporkle's database. So if you ever want to like compare yourself to your friends about, how many of the original 151 Pokemon can you name, or literally any topic you can think of is almost certainly on Sporkle.
I will say that 151 original Pokemon, me and my friends have played that one specifically like yearly. Yeah. We do that all the time. Yeah. It's funny you bring up that 151 Pokemon Sporkle quiz because that's something that me and some of my friends do pretty much yearly. Or at least we did yearly for a while. But yes, Sporkle, I guess we'll just talk about it now. We'll start off this topic with what can you guys do at home, ways that you can just get better or just play different trivia games. Sporkle, if you sporkle.com, sporcle.com, a great website of all kinds of trivia. They have trivia games. They even have like puzzles and stuff. From Pokemon to sports knowledge to literally pretty much anything you can think about. That was kind of going to be one of the last things I talked about, just because normally we throw this part at the end of the episode, but why not talk about it now?
Yeah, let's shake it up. You don't want to get too predictable.
Yeah, I like it. But yeah, Sporkle, great way to get involved in some stuff outside of this. Another way that I've gotten more used to trivia is just going back and watching old like game shows, like Jeopardy, stuff like that, or watching YouTube videos of people play different trivia games. I can think of a lot of Let's Plays of certain games.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's more fun that way because then you can watch other people's failures. Although it also gets more
the great thing about... I mean, there's definitely a number of times I've watched, just like the stray clip of Jeopardy. It's like, okay, I know this, I could answer this. This is probably the only question I would get right on Jeopardy. But this fool who doesn't have my specific knowledge doesn't know this thing.
Right.
How dare they not have my life experiences?
That's exactly how we as the audience feel during this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so...
But I will say, in terms of like being able to do stuff at home, you can do almost any trivia game you can think of is probably one that you can do at home. Like, you might not have the production value that you'll see on the internet or on TV, but you can definitely get trivia going and even play it with your friends online. I've done a version of a trivia game on a podcast I used to listen to, the Game Informer show, called Back of the Box Trivia, where we would just take out game boxes, look at the back of the box, edit out any super identifying proper nouns or anything like that, and we would read the back of the box to a group of people and see who could guess it first.
So, that sounds so much fun.
Oh, it back of the box trivia is the best. So, like, we would, take like a Super Mario Bros. Box, we would edit out stuff like Mario, Peach, Bowser, Koopa, but it's like, in the blank kingdom, plumber blank is going to do blank, and you're like, pretty soon someone would call in with their name, be able to answer and be like, hey, it's Super Mario Bros.
I mean, for anyone who knows anything about Mario, if you say plumber, they're gonna guess it.
Yeah. But it's also hilarious, like, how many games that you could read off that, like, especially early in the franchise, you have no idea that they're talking about that.
And that's there's a lot of, like, I mean, you could watch on TikTok, or you could just think another Sporkle quiz, like, so many ways that people, like, screw with, like, the wording of things to make it so confusing. Like, poor description of movies. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. I don't know if I can. Where they, like, basically take the description of a movie and twist it. Of course, the one I thought of was, like, super inappropriate, so I'm not going to say it. But it's basically like, Twilight.
If we want to go on that exact route, you know, like, Jackbox has a number of different trivia games. You know, they got the Trivia Murder Party. But to go on, like, kind of what you're talking about, one of their more unique, more interesting trivia games is Blather Round, where, you know, you have to describe a specific concept. Maybe we'll just go with, like, Santa, using, like, generic words. Or actually, something harder to guess than Santa. We'll say Bill Clinton. No, not Bill Clinton. But give me like a good, like, proper noun.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese. So we'll do, like, the large metal animal, and you gotta just keep using, like, really generic words instead of just saying it's Chuck E. Cheese, the animatronic that, like, gave you nightmares when you were a child. You gotta actually do, like, the giant metallic animal that is near children that sings on a stage. And, you know, like, the more generic words that you have, you know, surprisingly helps you narrow it in. But it's, you know, a different type of fun trivia that, you know, as we talked about back in the social deduction episode, Jackbox is one that's really easy to do over the internet, to gather your friends that have spread across the nation or the world and still play together.
Once again,
still a fun trivia way to go.
Once again, an amazing callback.
Yeah.
We love our callbacks here at Pongers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a Jackbox is actually another thing I was going to talk about a little bit later. As always, 17 steps ahead of me. I love it. Yeah, Jackbox is great. We could go on and on about how great Jackbox is, from their uniqueness to their always having brand new, really great games. But for the purposes of this episode, their trivia game's phenomenal. What's that new one in Jackbox 8?
Oh, it's the Wheel of something. You're thinking about, like, the... Let me check my party games list.
Yeah, please.
It's the Wheel of Enormous Proportions.
Right. A great game where you basically get a list of things and you have to tell, and you are given, like, a category, and you have to say what items from that list pertain to that category.
Yeah. Well, there's also the Poll Mine, which is more, like, group trivia focused.
Yeah, kind of like
because, you know, they're, like... I don't entirely know. Yeah, Fibbage would be that's another great trivia one. Jackbox always has good trivia games.
That one's a very obscure trivia game. And there's also another like, mode in Fibbage where you can basically, hey, how well do you know your friends?
Yeah. I mean, like, both of those are so excellent because no matter which one, you're going to be laughing. You know, if it's the preset one, you're going to be laughing at, like, some of the most ridiculous trivia that you've heard in your life. But if it's Fibbage, I want to say All About You.
Yep.
Or something along those lines. You know, it's very friend-oriented, and you learn some ridiculous things about your friends, and that's always worth an investigation and a go.
We always played that version, It's All About You, Fibbage, because we always, like you said, it was always more funny and fun, but it got to a point where we knew each other so well we couldn't play it anymore.
Yeah. That's definitely...
I can't think of anything else.
Definitely a risk.
Yeah. But yeah, so to kind of organize our thoughts here a little bit more about trivia games, I thought I'd have, as I did in my previous episode, or my previous expertise episode, I have categories of different trivia games. So let's dive right into those. The first category, and I think a lot of times when people think of trivia, they think of Jeopardy. Some people may think of, like, other trivia, like, esque games, like Wheel of Fortune. It's not really trivia, but kind of in the realm. Game shows. A lot of game shows have trivia basis. Jeopardy, I almost wouldn't even consider Jeopardy a game show per se, but it is because you win money.
I would. Like, how would it not be a game show?
I mean, you just think of game shows in general. I don't know. It feels, it's the vibe, I guess. It's just so different, and it's not a bad thing. I just feel like in a game show, you're, like, so, like, screamy and celebratory and stuff. Like, I'm thinking of, like, Family Feud or Price is Right, stuff like that. And Jeopardy just has a different vibe. But that being said, I mean, it is a game show where you go on and you do things correctly and you win money.
Yeah.
And speaking of Jeopardy, I actually have a little surprise that I'd like to end the video with, but we'll get back to that at the end of the episode. Another really great trivia game show that a lot of people probably don't know about is called The Chase.
What's that one about?
The premise is it actually originated from the UK, where a team of contestants, random strangers, would come into it's usually 4 people, I think, would come to the game show. They'd each have an individual of answering trivia round. They get a certain amount of money per each question they answered, and they would take that money and gamble it and play against one of 5 like expert trivia knowledge people. Like, and they're all called the Chasers, and they each have their own nickname. There was the Beast. His name was Mark. Funnily enough, there was
can't escape him.
You really can't. There was the Sinner Man, and there's a couple other ones I don't remember off the top of my head, but they adapted it to the United States, and it's the same premise, but it's just one of the 5 of them that has come to the U.S., and it's the Beast. Mark Labette, I think is his name, and he's like 150 something IQ. He's like actually a genius, and he is just the most knowledgeable person on most things. So they gamble their money, and he'll offer them more money to take a step closer to him, and they'll offer him less. He'll offer them less money. So instead of taking the money you earned, you can opt to gamble to get more, or maybe save yourself a little bit to take less. And the advantage of doing that is, after everyone has done their own round and then face the Beast individually, they'll all face the Beast together, and they'll pool all their money together. So once the people, whoever is left by that point, will answer trivia questions as a team to try to beat that Chaser or the Beast.
Okay, so it's kind of like a mix of Jeopardy and also like a casino night then.
Kind of. I guess, I don't know. Jeopardy's Jeopardy is just a very different game show, I feel like, altogether.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of trivia, I'd say so. But yeah, that's a really fun one. Another thing that to me, I didn't even think about this one until almost right before we started recording. I wrote it down. Are you smarter than a 5th grader?
Oh, it's been a long time since I've thought about that show.
I used to have that DS video game, and it was so hard. Video game? Yeah, there was.
I feel like they're definitely making up a lot of those questions being towards 5th graders. Like, I feel like I watched that when I was maybe around 7th grade. It's like, no, some of that stuff is just, that's not 5th grader stuff. They're lying right now.
Some of it...
liars.
You hear that, Jeff Foxworthy? If you're listening, you're full of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. You heard it here. Right here.
But I feel like some of them... Like when you hear things like in real life, you're like, yeah, I learned about that in like 6th grade, but I don't remember what it is, like math or whatever. Like how do you solve for x? How do you take like the derivative sine or whatever? But funnily enough, I still know how to do that, but I'm not. Never mind. Moving on.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of those questions would make sense that I wouldn't remember they were part of 5th grade, but there's some questions, you're right, that are like, how would anybody ever know that, regardless of what level of education they had?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was...
It's nonsense. Nonsense, people.
Kind of a subcategory of game shows you have are not trivia, not game shows geared towards trivia, but have a trivia basis. Like, for example, Cash Cab.
Oh, yeah.
Has, like, you have to answer trivia questions correctly, but it's... I mean, I guess that one's kind of a poor example of what I'm trying to talk about, but the premise is...
I mean, but there's, like, a pretty major time pressure element in that, right? Like, they don't know entirely when they'll arrive at their destination.
Yeah.
But if they, is it like they can earn a certain amount of money before they reach their destination, or what?
Yeah, I think they have to answer a certain amount of questions correctly by the time they get there, or something like that. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. That's just an example of one of those kind of less trivia. I mean, it's pretty trivia based, I guess, that one. So not a great example, but nonetheless, still a trivia game show. The other ones I was thinking more specifically are like those celebrity ones, like Ellen's game show or whatever. I don't know what it's called, but Ellen DeGeneres has a game show where she does, and they have to answer trivia questions, but the whole gimmick of that show isn't trivia based. It's like these wacky things they have to do while they're answering trivia.
Yeah.
And if they fail to do those things, then they lose. Another one that me and my sister actually loved was Catch 21, which was essentially blackjack, but instead of poker chips, it was trivia questions.
Huh. So, wait, how does that work? How do you get to 21 with trivia questions?
So, essentially, he asks a question. Whoever buzzes in and gets it right gets a card. And your goal is to get your cards added up to 21. and if you bust, you're out of the round. And if you hit 21 exactly, you automatically win the round.
Okay.
And at the end,
right.
you've got 3 hands at the same time, and you're trying. If you get all of them correct, you get all of them to hit 21. You get like, I don't know, $25,000.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. And then Family Feud isn't necessarily trivia, but it's kind of knowledge based. So another good example of, it's not necessarily trivia questions, but you have to know, or you have to kind of think about, you have to know enough about a subject or a topic in order to succeed.
Well, I mean, the idea of trivia is such a broad idea. What exactly counts as trivia? You know, I would consider that almost be like knowledge of random facts of a sort, you know, like, and Family Feud, that's the one where they have to guess, like, the, you know, survey says, like, in the most popular breakfast food or breakfast fruits is, like, number 1, orange, number 2, strawberry, or whatever, right? Like, I'm thinking of the right game there?
Yeah. I will say this. I commend you for thinking the most popular breakfast fruit is orange, because I feel like a lot of people would disagree.
I made that up on the top of my head. I didn't actually think that was. I didn't want to just have dead air until I came up with one that the actual top breakfast fruit.
I'm just commending your fruit choices. That's all.
Maybe grapes.
Ooh. Okay, we could talk about. Is this a food podcast?
Yeah. Maybe I'll do a breakfast food episode. I'll just if we ever meet up again, I'll just be like, all right, my griddle's on. The podcast lasts as long as I'm making French toast for. Let's go.
You guys will hear the little ASMR of our the pan
sizzle.
Frying. The sizzle,
and the bacon frying and the sausage frying and everything there.
That reminds me of the sandwich maker that I've had forever.
That's what a real ASMR.
Yeah, Ooh. ASMR. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of all I really have to say about game shows. There's a couple other categories I'd like to get to, so we can go ahead and move on. One of the kind of quicker categories we don't have to talk about a whole lot, but is games of like specific trivia categories. So, for example, have you ever played Seen It?
Yes, I have.
Spelt, and when you think of Seen It, like you think of seen like SEEN, and that's the pun, I believe, but it's actually spelled SCENE. It, as in it's trivia about specific different kinds of like movies and media. There's one about Disney. There's one about Harry Potter, and they make a bunch of different games that are directed towards specific
audiences. Yeah.
And this is the perfect place for me to yet again bring up my just domination of my family and friends trivia. So
gotta rub it in at every chance you get.
You know what? It's if I don't have a lot, I have to use what I have. So But yep. Another one that comes to mind is you can go and do different bar trivia. Like you can go out to a bar, they might have a trivia night, and a lot of the times those would be like categories, especially if you're in like a college town. Like here in Iowa City, I've seen The Office trivia, I've seen Friends trivia, obviously. I've seen Harry Potter trivia somewhere, just all over the place.
Well, see, and this one is another interesting that I'm going to loop back to what you can do at home, because this is Seen It trivia is the type of trivia game that's actually moderately easy to make on your own time.
True.
There are a lot of open source video editors, and you can always download maybe not the highest quality clips off of YouTube for the movie or the topic that you're interested in, but you can pretty easily, if you want to say do Harry Potter movie trivia, you can probably go for the clips that you're looking for and find them on YouTube somewhere. And that you can like download them and get them queued up and play trivia pretty easily. Mm-hmm. There's definitely capability for you to make your own type of special interest trivia game either by doing clips, or one that I'd like to do is a music-based trivia sometime in the future.
Oh yeah.
Just be like, the classic one is like name that tune, or like play music soundtracks, guess where the movie is from, play video game soundtracks, guess the video game, etc., etc. Right. A lot of potential for that, and always. When you make it on your own, you're allowed to really customize it to the group that you're playing towards. If I had to play with like just a group of random Joe Schmoes, I wouldn't like go deep cuts. If I was to do like a movie thing, I'd stay with like the Marvels, your Star Wars, your other things. Or if I'm going like with my friends who I know have seen a lot of the same movies that I have, we can start going into really weird territory to make it, more challenging and specific to us.
Right, and that's exactly why that Friends trivia was so fun, because we all knew so much about it, especially after having played that same game for a few years. there was one time where we all came up with our own questions because we were getting sick of. Well, we're not sick of. We were just our game master at the time.
I mean, you just know too many of the answers.
Exactly. So
it's not even like a knowledge of your or a test of your knowledge about Friends. It's just a test of your memory from last game.
And exactly. So we came up with our own questions. A, to avoid repeating questions, but B, because we needed to make them harder, and we thought we could, or my aunt, our previous game master, thought it would be a lot easier for us to get better questions if we thought of them, just because we knew that show so goddamn well. And if anybody wants to challenge me, I will. And this is the last episode. Hopefully, I'll talk about it. And the last time I'll talk about it this episode. If anyone wants to challenge me to Friends Trivia, I will take you down. But anyway, so moving on, we've got about 2 more categories left, and one of them is very near and dear to my heart because this is the thing I geek out about. Excuse me, I'm still messing up like last episode.
Whatever. Yeah. Just keep going. I, the English major, decree you valid. Continue.
The callback again. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd do without my English major to, assure me that I'm doing just fine. To validate
you'd
me.
Be an English minor or something.
Well, if you ever need help with Spanish, I'm
that
there for you.
That joke didn't even make sense.
I
like the only time I took a Spanish class was in 6th grade and I failed.
Total bien, mi amigo. That was terrible pronunciation. Okay. Usually I sound better than that, but whatever. Anyway, so
I'm sick into German and Japanese. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this episode's full of terrible jokes, so maybe that'll be the title.
That's just how podcasts goes. They go along. They become more incomprehensible in jokes.
I think that's
how it is.
That's going to be something that continues on. It's going to be eventually we're just going to be talking in another language to other people in bad jokes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
By like episode 25.
That's how it is. If not sooner. Yeah.
That's if not sooner.
If we aren't already there.
True. Anyway, languages aside, this next category, like I said, very near and dear to my heart. It's board games, trivia board games. The ones that come to mind immediately are like games like Trivial Pursuit, Cranium. There's definitely more I'm missing. So if you think of any, Anthony, let me know.
The games I'm thinking of right now aren't so much trivia since
sure.
It involves more knowledge. Like the ones I'm thinking of, it's like catchphrase, I think it is, where you have that like circle that you press in and pass around the circle when somebody guesses that, that's not really trivia. It's a different type of game that maybe we could cover at some point.
Yeah. I also thought that game, yeah.
I personally prefer when it comes to like stuff like Trivial Pursuit to go into the more specific knowledge. Because if I play Trivial Pursuit in this day and age, it's just a bunch of boomer trivia that I have no idea about. Give me something I actually have a chance at, like Lord of the Rings trivia. Any day of the week.
It's so funny you mentioned boomer because I thought I knew a lot about this topic, so I was trying not to do too much research, but I found, after doing some more, because I was like, there's got to be more board games that I wasn't thinking of. I found a list of like games I never heard of. And not necessarily on that list, but a different one I found was called OK Boomer.
Okay.
And that's exactly how I reacted. Like, it can't be that, like, it's no offense, if you're the one who made that game, I've never played it, so I won't judge you, but that's an interesting title.
You're just trying to get on the hip wave.
Exactly. That's the vibe to that game, in my opinion. We're becoming a critique podcast, is what we are. But another one that's kind of goofy, and I think is goofy in a good way as opposed to goofy in a trying to be a trendy way. It's a game called Smartass.
Huh. I haven't heard about that. What do you do with that one?
In Smartass, you have to guess the identity of a person, place, or thing. I'm reading the description, just it's FYI. This is not coming from my brain. Each card has a list of descriptive statements in descending order from obscure to obvious. The first person to shout out the right answer gets to move forward around the board, and that first person to reach the end wins. Being able to shout out when you know the answer keeps everyone involved each turn, and the cards are simple enough for all ages and abilities. That's actually pretty nice because that reminds me of something like there's definitely other games that are similar to that where it goes or even Jeopardy is a great example is like if you ever did Quiz Bowl or like Scholastic Bowl growing up.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that in the back of my mind. It's like, well, if you're in high school right now and listening to this, just go join your Quiz Bowl if you want to do a level of professional trivia.
Fun fact about me, I did do Quiz Bowl and I was honestly not the best at it, admittedly.
I mean, you need to know so much to do that well. Like,
honestly,
overwhelming amounts of knowledge.
Right, but and that's a great example because usually those questions will go like from more like broad to more specific. Like this thing was established in 1872, and then it gets more specific, and it's all of a sudden, oh yeah, and this object named by Alexander Graham Bell or whatever. I don't know. That date and that time or the people are, I don't know, probably all wrong, but you know what I'm saying. Gets more and more specific to the point where it becomes obvious almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I actually don't have a lot more to say about board games. I know there's a lot more. Here's a list of games. I won't go into the detail about all of them, but when I Googled trivia board games, here's a list of 10 things that came up. Linky, Shot in the Dark, Wits and Wagers, Blockbuster, which I have actually heard of, Smartass and Cranium.
That's that closed video store.
Right. Actually, there's one still left.
Oh, yeah. The last Blockbuster.
Couple other ones.
I don't think that'll ever close at this point. Honestly.
Where is that?
It's like a pilgrimage site. I think it's out in Oregon.
That sounds right.
It's definitely on the West Coast.
Yeah, Pacific Northwest sounds right. But yeah, so Pointless, Timeline, and Half Truth are a couple other games. If you've played those, great. If you like them, actually let us know because I'm always looking to add to my collection. So let me know if it's good or if you like it, or give me a good review about it. If you haven't and you want to go play it and then give us a review, give us a comment, that would be also equally dope. But yeah, so the last category I have before I enter into the surprise of this episode, for you more than anybody, Anthony, is video games. And this is kind of what I'm going to turn the tables on you a little bit. A lot of trivia video games I know about are adaptations of games we've already mentioned. Like on the Xbox, you can play Wheel of Fortune, you can play Jeopardy, you can play Trivial Pursuit. You can play all these games that are adaptations of other games on just a console. Can you think of any video game that is like in and of itself original that is trivia based? Because
I mean, technically, you don't know Jack.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, Jackbox, a great example of that's honestly the biggest example, and that was what I said earlier. I was going to come back to. That's the only thing
like you don't know Jack was like before Jackbox. Apparently, that was like out in like the PS1 era, like late 90s. It hasn't just been like the 2014 of Jackbox. It was way before that too.
I'm assuming made by the same people, yeah?
I don't think so.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I think the current Jackbox games like got the license for You Don't Know Jack, and they like base their name off of that, I want to say.
Oh.
Yeah.
Something for us to research next
time. Jackbox games in Berkeley Systems.
Wow.
Yep.
But yeah, other than Jackbox, I was having trouble thinking of anything in and of itself original that is a trivia game. For video games, that is.
Yeah, I mean, there's like occasionally trivia mini games within games, but never really full-sized video games dedicated to trivia.
That's a great category I didn't even think of. But
I mean, like the ones I'm thinking of, it's like, there's one game I'm thinking of, to tie it back to what I was talking about. Persona 4, like the re-release has like Persona 4 trivia as like a side mode in that, where it's like, if you play the game a whole lot and for some reason want to play trivia against computers about that stuff, you can. It's not like a fleshed out mode whatsoever, but it is technically something.
Sure. But yeah, if you guys can think of any other trivia-based video games that we couldn't think of, please let us know, because that was the category I honestly struggled with the most. But yeah, so Anthony, are you ready?
Oh yeah, hit me. What's
here
up
is
next?
The surprise. I, as the game master of my family trivia, I've mentioned this, we no longer do friends trivia. We do something that we can include everybody in. So I want to see how well you can, participate or play in the trivia, or the rather Jeopardy game that I came up with last year for my family.
All right, hit me.
All right, so I'm not going to live stream it or anything for you to see. I'm just going to give you the categories, and you can tell me which one you want to try.
Okay.
And if you guys...
What are our categories?
Yeah, so everyone play at home. If you know the answer, please, in your head buzz in, because you can't really buzz in here. Pretend. So we've got... Do you want to do Jeopardy or Double Jeopardy? They've got different categories for both one. Both ones.
Let's stick with Jeopardy for right now. I need to get a taste of how hard this is going to be.
Okay, and I think I said this in a previous episode as well. This was a little. They said my family claimed this to be too smart for them, so hopefully it's not too hard. But here we go. There is one category you're not going to know anything about, so I'm just going to avoid that one. My family name is Wythe, so as a play on words, one of the categories is at the Wythe house, being family trivia. So we will ignore that one.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I was going to be like, you don't know what I know, but yeah, I don't know your family trivia. I just don't.
I kind of figured. But yeah, so our categories are before and after, which is a real Jeopardy category, in which you get basically 2 clues in one, and you have to guess the 2 answers that are connected by a single word.
Yeah, which one? Okay.
Yeah. So, like, for example, a good one would be, like, these 2 actors starred in Grease. It would be Olivia Newton-John Travolta, as if one answer.
Got it.
Then you've got colleges and universities, famous jacks, stupid TV knowledge, and potpourri, which is just anything.
All right, let's go with the stupid TV knowledge.
1, 2, 3, or
for 400.
400. This actress will work alongside Orlando Bloom in an upcoming animated series depicting a royal family. She starred alongside Peter Dinklage from 2011 to 2019 and is married to Joe Jonas.
Well, I know this is someone in Game of Thrones, but I don't know how many actors in Game of Thrones I actually know on the tip of my tongue. If I get like the general, if I can like name the character, am I allowed to from Game of Thrones? Am I allowed to get the points from that?
I would give you the points, but I've never seen Game of Thrones, so I don't actually know what their character's name is. You can guess the character, and then if you know the actress and that's the same person, I'll believe you.
All right, so I'm gonna guess Daenerys from Game of Thrones.
Daenerys Targaryen.
Her actor. Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that's not right, but the
actress it was Emilia Clarke.
The actress name is Sophie Turner.
Oh, I've definitely heard that name before. Sophie Turner.
She is in Game of Thrones. I just don't know who she plays.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. Yeah, Sansa Stark. All right.
Okay. So
next one. What do we got?
We can do before and after, colleges, universities, famous jacks, potpourri, or we could stick with stupid TV knowledge.
I don't know how much. We'll just for some variety for the audience, we'll go into potpourri.
Potpourri. Oh wait, 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5.
For 200.
200. Ooh, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think you're gonna know this one.
Okay, hit me.
After several NFL players were drafted to serve in World War II,
Oh no!
What a. Oh no!
Keep going.
Two teams, one from the AFC and one from the NFC, combined to create this temporary team in 1943.
Oh, it's not a team that still exists, is it?
It existed for 1 year or 1 season, and it was a name that was combined of 2 teams' names at the time who are still current teams.
Okay.
Take a shot in the dark. Take 2 teams you know the name of and just combine them. I want to see what you can come up with, actually.
We'll go with the New England 49ers.
Interesting. That's not right, but I'm gonna give you a little bit more of a hint. If you take it's a combination of the mascot. So like if you're gonna use the Patriots and the 49ers, you could be like the 40 Triots or like the Patroniners or something like that. That's the combination.
That might make it even harder.
They're both teams out east, if that helps.
I was even thinking about that. I don't know why I was guessing east before you even told me that. But the problem is I don't know any football teams off the top of my head outside of a scant few. I'm going to have to pass. I have no idea.
So the combination of the 2 teams...
I'm going to be the worst trivia guest you will ever have. I promise you that.
The 2 teams are the Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Philadelphia Eagles, both the Pennsylvania teams.
I know both of those.
Which makes sense because they're from the same state. They became the Steagles.
Yeah. Okay. You think they would go like the Steel Eagles or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't make the name. Anyway, next one.
All right. Restate the first two categories.
So there are three categories we haven't touched on. It is famous jacks, before and after, and colleges and universities.
We'll go before and after for 100. We're gonna really lower the expectations.
All right. This one has some football knowledge in it, I'll be honest, but I think you can get this one.
Oh boy.
This is what Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers commonly participate in on Sunday, post-trip to this consumer electronics store. So that's two clues in one that are connected by a single word.
I think you have way too much faith in my football knowledge.
Okay, but think about it. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are football players. What do they do on a Sunday? They play in what?
They play games, and then what was the second clue?
This consumer electronics store.
So it'd be... Oh, man, I'm... So it wouldn't be electronics boutique. It'd be GameStop. So, but what's the game? It would be Play Game GameStop?
I'm going to give it to you. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So they play in a football game, and the store is GameStop. So it is... What is football GameStop?
I'm calling that.
I'll give you that one. So you're at... I have not... Okay, so you...
That's 100 points.
So you'd actually be at... You'd still be at negative 500.
Oh, because I lose points.
Well, you didn't really buzz in.
All right.
I'm just making you answer.
Okay.
All right. Famous jacks or colleges and universities?
We'll do famous jacks for 300.
Dope. This Jack, a grandpa himself... This category is based off of my grandpa, whose name is Jack. This Jack, a grandpa himself, wins the first place prize for male actor nominations for the Academy after career spanning over 60 years.
Is it Jack Nicholson?
You wanna put your answer in a form of a question for me?
Who is Jack Nicholson?
That is correct.
Let's go.
You're up to negative 200. Congratulations.
Oh, let's see if I can get into the positive.
See if you can break even with colleges and universities.
No. I'm going for the gold. I haven't done a 500 point yet. I want college and universities for 500.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to get bodied, but I don't care. I got to go for glory.
You're really good at picking all the sports questions. This founding member of the Big Ten is the alma mater of the first ever recipient of the Downtown Athletic Trophy, now known as the Heisman. This is so. Which school did the first Heisman winner go to?
We're gonna go Brown University.
Okay, let me try. Remember this: Big Ten.
I don't know who the Big Ten is. Oh no, it's disappointing, but that is way outside of my scope of knowledge.
It is not Brown University. It is actually. All right. I'll give you one more try.
We'll go. Okay. I'll
tell you this: the Big
only
Ten.
Other Big Ten I know is we'll just go Harvard University. Why not?
Neither of those are Big Ten.
Okay.
You're thinking of Ivy League.
All right. I apologize to all of the audience members who are yelling at me for not knowing that. It is just has never been my thing. I'm trying to learn, but.
All right, try one more time. I'm going to give you a hint.
For years.
The Big Ten is based out of the Midwest. So, Iowa. Me and Mark go to a Big Ten school. Or rather, we did go to a Big Ten school. Iowa.
All right. Then I'm gonna put my final answer as, what is the University of Minnesota? Gonna rep my home state.
Good guess, but it's not correct.
Mary. Okay.
So this founding member, actually, there are two members of the Big Ten that are no longer members of the Big Ten. It is actually my hometown, Lake Forest, Illinois. Lake Forest College was a founding member. It got kicked out by Northwestern, I think. And the University of Chicago was also a Big Ten team. And the correct answer to this question, University of Chicago. I don't remember the player's name, but the first ever Heisman winner went to University of Chicago and played football. All right, let's do. I'm gonna pick one for you.
Congratulations to them.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick one for you.
Yeah, give me
better.
one last one that you think I actually have a chance to boost my self-esteem.
We're not gonna do that one. Let's try this one. I'm gonna look through them all, see what I can find. No, not doing that one. Why is all my college ones they're almost all sports related? Nope.
See if there's one that you think I could answer in the TV category.
Ooh, good idea. Not that one. Not that one. That one's really hard. I should have made that one way harder. Here's an interesting one. Based on a popular sitcom from BBC, this show, having a notable guest stars such as Amy Ryan, Melora Hardin, and James Spader, won the Peabody Award in 2006. 2 actors screened Guild Awards, a Golden Globe, and 4 Primetime Emmys.
Is this the British version of The Office? Or what is the British version of The Office?
Based on the one from BBC, it's What is The Office? That is correct.
Aha, let's go.
You want to try the one before that?
Yeah, go for it.
This popular sitcom, created in November of 1993, first aired on September 22nd of 94, and was originally called
What is Friends?
Originally called The Insomniac Cafe. What is Friends is correct.
Yeah.
All right, so now I don't know what you're at.
I may not have seen a whole lot of Friends, but I know that it aired between 94 and 2004. Sticks out in my head. I know that.
Sure. All right, let's do one from Double Jeopardy. Just one question. I'm gonna pick it for you.
Hit me.
I don't even remember what the categories are. I'll let you choose a category. We've got play ball. Probably don't do that one. Literature, ancient history, or film scene. Potpourri is also in this one, but we'll skip that one for now.
Well, all right. I'd like to go out in a blaze of glory. Either way, give me film scene for 500.
Oh, do you want? It's Double Jeopardy, so it's 1,000.
All right, give for 1,000.
Oh, you actually probably will know this one.
Okay.
It's music.
Okay.
It's music score related, so I don't know if you'll know exactly what it is, but you might have a good guess.
All right.
Hedwig's theme is in this minor, and the Star Wars main theme is in this major. This note is the first note in the main melody from Disney's Frozen.
Okay, if I can recall.
What key is the Star Wars main theme in?
It's in. I'm gonna go with B flat.
No.
Dang.
Try again.
What is it? All right. This will be my final answer. If I don't get this one, I definitely don't get it right.
Okay.
F major.
That's so close.
Oh.
The answer is G. G major, G minor.
Oh.
Let's see what the other film scene is.
Really? Okay.
Oh, here's a fun one. Defining Hufflepuff uniforms, outlining the Jurassic Park logo. This color is that of the Mind Stone.
Gold.
Be more basic.
Yellow.
Yes.
Yellow.
Yeah.
I think the gold. It has the sheen of gold, so I'm gonna keep my dignity there.
I want to do one more because I want to see if you'll get this one.
Hit me.
Famous. This is an actor. Famous for a particular series of films from his youth, this actor is also famous for voice acting roles such as the Joker, Firelord Ozai.
Mark Hamill, who is
Yes! Yes! As well as guest appearing on The Simpsons and Family Guy. Correct. Yeah. Very good.
He doesn't, after he did Luke Skywalker, he doesn't do hero roles anymore. He's only villains now.
He does a great job, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that is kind of my trivia, and probably just about the end of the episode. Anything else you want to say about trivia and or mind games, Tony?
Not from my end, no.
Awesome. Well, hopefully
try making your own trivia game. It's worth giving a go, honestly.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly all these questions are questions I came up with after from my knowledge, but also having to do some research. But yeah, if you want to go just play games with your family, be goofy about it. That's what I do. I'll call myself I don't even know what I called myself last year. I think I was Chobek instead of Trebek, but something like that. But
that's pretty good.
But yeah, just be goofy with it, have a good time, and flex your knowledge on your own stupid knowledge on your family because it'll make you seem smart.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed the trivia game that I that Jeopardy. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that Jeopardy, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Please comment, help us build that community. We want to hear about some of the things we forgot to talk about, and we want to hear the things that you guys want to talk about.
Yeah, tell us about trivia games that you have created if you've done it before.
And maybe if you have an online version of it, post a link so we can play it, and we'll let you know how bad we did. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.
Yep. See ya.